Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for coming to watch. So I've got you guys an update on Tropical Storm Francine. All right, so Francine is currently located just a few miles south of Texas's southern coastline. All right, we've got big time impacts we got to talk about as Francine is expected to strengthen into a Category 2 hurricane prior to impacting areas of coastal Louisiana. I've got all the details coming right up, right? So thank you for joining me here on this Monday evening. We have a lot to go over in this video because we do have a lot of new information on Tropical Storm Francine. I know it's been a while since I've done an update. I've been working on my winter forecast, all right, that is out for you guys to watch, but we are back in the swing of things because we got major information to talk about. You can see Francine looking pretty good on your satellite, got a really nice spin to it. A lot of these upper level clouds here, very cold cloud tops, signifying some very strong thunderstorm development, a lot of good convection going on there. So when you see convection like this, pretty widespread around the core of the storm, all right, with that pretty good spin to it, this is a pretty good, strong and healthy storm. Now, we have very warm SSTs out here, sea surface temperatures. So the fact that the storm can really, scoop up that energy from the Gulf waters is dangerous for the storm to be out there because this could definitely undergo what we call rapid intensification. And if we get any of that at any given point, this could definitely be a stronger storm than we first anticipate. But you can see right now, it's got outer bands that are kind of stretching right into Mexico and into Texas. As of right now, this is not getting battled by any wind shear. But look at all this dry air. All right, up into Texas and Louisiana. This is going to help weaken out the storm. So for you folks up into central northern Louisiana, up into Texas, a little bit farther inland into, Mississippi and Alabama, you guys will feel less impacts from the storm because it will bring a moisture pull, but it's going to get cut off because this is super dry air. This is very dry air, cold, dry air with a lot of wind shear. Now, wind shear always attacks hurricanes and weakens them out. Now, what this could definitely do is increase the tornado threat. If Francine develops outer bands that strengthen and mature before making landfall, that could definitely present a higher tornado threat with this wind shear, which we will talk about in a future update. But you can see, these clouds here, they max out the scale. So very healthy looking storm here. So we're going to get right over to our other satellite loop, and you can see, just to give you guys a better look at Francine, these are just very healthy thunderstorm cloud tops. Notice how the northern side of the storm is the strongest side of the storm. You see that most convection certainly in this area. This is the core. It's trying to develop an eye. You see that center of circulation there? All right, if this northern of the storm, this northern little piece of energy or outer band, if you will, makes that landfall, makes that impact in Louisiana, then the first round of the center of the storm, if you will, it seems that would be probably, the better case scenario if that first round is the stronger round, because you just need to get through that one push of strong damage winds, and then it should be a little bit better there on out. But we got to go over the details on what this storm's going to be bringing to Louisiana and what impacts or what areas need to stay prepared. All right, so we go over here to the National Hurricane Center's official cone here. As you can see, we are currently, we're estimating tropical storm winds pretty much anywhere in this gold shaded area. This does stretch into Mexico, just not yet into Texas. You can see we do have tropical storm warnings in this blue shade that do go up just slightly into southern Texas coastline. All right, if you're in the yellow shade, that just means that you are under a tropical storm watch. So if you see the cone shift a little bit farther west, I do think we're going to see some upgrades to tropical storm warnings here in the Texas coastline. I think it's also possible that we're just going to get those either way. We're just going to have to see. But as of right now, this is what we've got. All right, we're expecting this thing to strengthen into a hurricane by 7 p.m. tomorrow, so that's a big jump. But you can see very shortly from now, from the National Hurricane Center, they are expecting this thing to strengthen into a hurricane, Category 1 hurricane. This will continue to strengthen over its time across these waters of the Gulf of Mexico. And then by 7 p.m. Wednesday, we're expecting a landfall in southern Louisiana. All right, this will be a Category 2 hurricane with sustained winds at about 100 miles per hour, I believe. All right, so very strong storm there. We already do have hurricane warnings going out for pretty much the entire southern coast of Louisiana here. If you're in the red shade, you are currently under a hurricane warning. We will go over those details a little bit later. If you are in the blue shade, this goes a little bit farther out and extends a little bit farther east and west. That means you are under a tropical storm warning. All right, now I think that we could certainly see upgrades to even hurricane warnings, obviously, with this track potentially shifting east or west. We'll have to see. But we do have, notice how we do have this slight area here that is currently under a hurricane watch. That means you have the potential, it's also pretty likely that you're going to be put under a hurricane warning. So that does go out for the for areas just to the east of the cone. Now, if this cone shifts a little bit farther to the east, you guys will definitely be in it. All right, but you see how the storm will definitely get weakened by that wind shear and the dry air. By 7 a.m. Thursday, this is down to a tropical storm as this is going up into the Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi kind of corner there. And then by 7 p.m. Thursday, all the way to Thursday evening, this will be a tropical depression, and it'll kind of just get caught up in our pattern. I think that this could already be an extratropical storm by the time we get to this. By the time we get to Thursday, it's really not going to be anything much. By the time it gets to this point, we're gonna just probably see the storm get caught up in dry air and wind shear. So nothing to worry about for you guys in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Missouri. So really, if you're in the deep south, just keep your eyes peeled, especially if you're in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and even into Alabama. I think the worst condition that you'll get is probably some rough surf, but that's pretty much about it. All right, so we go over here to the HWRF hurricane model. We take a look at this, just kind of look at the future track of the storm. So this is the official hurricane model that we use here. This is the HWRF. You can see already by 2 p.m. tomorrow, this is tomorrow afternoon, this could be down to a 982 millibar low. You could argue that this is a high-end Category 1 hurricane, and look what this does. This does some sort of intensification. You could definitely argue that this is rapid intensification. It gets itself down to a 967 millibar low. Now, that is a pretty much a mid to high-end Category 2 hurricane, so still no signs of this going major, but that just really doesn't matter. So it seems like that it's pretty much set in stone now that this is going to be a Category 2 hurricane, but I do think it has the possibility to overachieve a little bit, I think it definitely overperform. By the time we get to 5 a.m. on the 11th, which should be Wednesday, this is Wednesday at 5 a.m., this storm will be just offshore of Texas and Louisiana now. The outer bands should be starting to slap Louisiana's coastline just very gently. This outer band here is going to be pushing up and rotating around the storm, pushing up into Louisiana. That's going to send a big first round of high waves. You're going to get storm surge with this. You're going to get pretty, very high winds. You could definitely get high and tropical storm force winds with these outer bands. These will be strong outer bands. Look at this one down here. This is definitely going to send some very high waves up on your coastline, because remember, these are pushing the waters up towards you. That's why the storm surge and the flooding is going to be so bad. Okay, but by the time we get to landfall, all right, this is 11 a.m., so everyone should be awake for this. All right, the storm will make landfall. There is that eye of the storm. All right, these outer bands will continue to push farther north, bringing those waters and those waves northward and kind of facing and slapping against the southern coastline of Louisiana. You're getting battered by heavy rainfall. This is going to be a long while of heavy rain before you reach the eye. Okay, now the southern part of the storm shouldn't be too bad, which is surprising because really you'd think that with this dry air looming, nearby, that it would pretty much just cut off the northern part of the storm. That's not the case. We're just going to see the northern storm plow right into Louisiana, and then pretty much once again in the eye, it's going to be a little bit better there on out. All right, but you see what happens past landfall. This is pretty much just after landfall. This still in the 960s, 968 millibars by about 2 p.m. on Wednesday. All right, you got outer bands here stretching in Louisiana. Look at this. You see this little, pocket of purple here that are in these outer bands. This looks to me like a very bad signature for tornadoes. Okay, if you get any low level shear here or anything embedded with these outer bands, I think we could have a very serious tornado threat. You guys remember Beryl, all right? When Beryl made landfall in Texas, we saw a huge severe weather outbreak, tornado outbreak in Louisiana. We had PDS tornadoes. We had multiple, and we saw a multi-day severe weather outbreak, multi-day tornado outbreak. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but I think it's possible that we could definitely get a few tornadoes and potentially a pretty good number of them when this makes landfall. Now, this doesn't weaken out completely by the time we get to 5 p.m. Now, the HWRF is a model that sometimes overdoes things, so I think we may see the storm weaken out a little bit quicker than this. But by 5 p.m., by the evening hours, this could still definitely be, near 970 hurricane, which is still probably a strong Cat 1, low in Cat 2. But this really just starts to weaken out completely, and by the time we get through the middle of the night, Wednesday into Thursday, this really starts to just, weaken out completely. This says it's the HWRF is saying this is sub 1,000. This is definitely a tropical storm at this point. Just brings light to moderate rainfall into Arkansas, Tennessee, Boot Heel of Missouri, kind of that region. All right, nothing too crazy other than that. Maybe some gusty winds, and then just notice how it fizzles out completely because of just how cold and dry this air is, and all that wind shear kind of just breaks the storm apart. All right, so anybody north of really Arkansas and Tennessee and, the Boot Heel of Missouri should be okay from this storm. I mean, just a sprinkle or two is really all you can get if you're farther north than that. But it's really looking like the heaviest of rain is going to be impacting the areas of southern Louisiana into the far western sections of Mississippi. All right, watch out for those outer bands, especially if you're farther to the east. If you're in southern Mississippi, very possibly you're going to get some tornadoes. I would definitely watch out. Be continuing to watching those photographs to see if we're going to get any signal force or low-level rotation. All right, not seeing anything too crazy yet, but I'll definitely keep my eyes peeled. So just watch out for this. This is going to be a big system. All right, nothing you guys can't handle, but remember, we're going to get those waves. They're going to crash up against the shoreline, which we will talk about why in just a second. So we look at the winds, all right? Everyone wants to know when hurricanes make landfall, everyone wants to know, all right, how bad are the winds going to be? Because everyone just, everyone says that the winds matter. Now, the winds are very important, but in many cases, the winds aren't the main factor of the storm being dangerous, and I think that's definitely, you've got a case to, say that with this storm. Now, you look at, these are the wind gusts, I believe. All right, you can see this is as it's making landfall, as of what the HRRR is showing. Now, the HRRR really isn't showing much. Now, the HRRR is actually underdoing this, which is interesting, because the HRRR does barely gets this over the criteria for Category 1 hurricane force winds. So it's interesting to see that. So that kind of goes to show that there is the potential for this to be a little bit less intense than we anticipate it to be. Now you can see this is from the NAM. All right, I think this is much more reliable because we are expecting this to get up to Category 2 status. This storm could have wind gusts of up to 115 miles per hour. See that now. This is just before making landfall. You can see there is a swath here on the northern side of the storm with about winds ranging from 110 to 112 miles per hour. I think this is possible. This is going to be the high-end impacts that you'll see if this were to play out. This is probably the worst-case scenario. But you do get a large swath of winds that are near or above 100 miles per hour. All right, that's going to be a pretty large section of the storm. So it's really, look at this wind field here. All right, we could have winds gusting into the 50s. These are tropical storm force winds all the way up towards like Lafayette, Louisiana, already gusting to 60 miles per hour by the time the storm is yet to make landfall. All right, it's still quite a ways away from making landfall, but you play this out a little bit farther, and boom, this makes landfall. All right, you can see, look at the difference, guys. This is a monster storm here, and it just automatically, starts to weaken out completely. All right, notice how you do get some stronger gusts here on the northwestern side of the storm. Lafayette area, I would watch out. You guys can definitely see gusts ranging from 80 to 90 miles per hour. This is going to uproot trees. This is definitely going to cause some extensive roof damage. But if you're near, I know some of these areas are pretty populated, but if you're near, Intracoastal City, Abbeville, New Iberia, Morgan City. All right, all of you guys got to watch out for storm surge and very, very high winds. Okay, but this is going to continue to try and push north, and we'll see some isolated spots of 60 to 70 gusts at max. I really don't think we're going to see anything other than that. Up into western Mississippi. I think you guys are more worried about the tornado threat for now. Definitely those some isolated spots, especially near like Macomb and Woodville. This kind of area, I think that's where you're gonna have the highest chance of seeing 50 to 60, maybe even up to 70-mile-an-hour gusts. But really, once this gets past the Lafayette area, I mean, meaning like once the eye gets past the Lafayette area, this is really not going to be a storm that you're going to want to worry about too much, other than that possible tornado threat, and then still some isolated damage wind gusts related to just the storm being a hurricane. So we go down to our peak storm surge forecast. Now, this is the concerning part of the storm. You can see, we'll talk about all these areas here on your map, but you can see anywhere from the mouth of the Rio Grande to the High Island and Galveston Bay area. We're expecting only 1 to 3 feet of storm surge. Once again, nothing too crazy other than if an outer band happens to kind of push a little bit of waves up towards your area, which doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So you guys should be good, other than a little areas a little bit farther off to the east. Now you go over to High Island and Cameron. Look at this. You get a swath of 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, right? This is when you're going to get at least one outer band that's going to start to push some waves over towards the area. Notice how you go from the 3 to 5 to 5 to 10 jump, and this is a very large area here, going out for pretty much a big chunk of the southern Louisiana coastline. Vermilion Bay, we're expecting 5 to 10 feet of storm surge. All right, Port Fortune, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Port Fortune, expecting 5 to 10 feet. So anywhere from Cameron to Port Fortune, we're expecting 5 to 10 feet of storm surge from Francine. And now you see 4 to 7 feet of storm surge from the mouth of the Mississippi River to Port Fortune. All right, anybody into here, this little coastal area that kind of goes into Louisiana. All right, this is where we're expecting 4 to 7, so that's in the orange shade. Now, notice that does say up to 9 feet, so it's possible that if you're in the orange shade, you can see storm surge up to 9 feet. It's just that the forecast is for up to 7 feet, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, bud, from the Mississippi and Alabama border all the way down to the mouth of the Mississippi River, we are expecting about 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, up to 6 feet. Lake Maripas and Poncher. I am not going to say that, guys. I apologize for not being able to read that. But anybody in yellow, up to 6 feet. If you're in the blue, up to 3, up to 9 in the orange shade, and up to 10 in the red shade. So this kind of just goes to show that we are expecting very concerning conditions with that storm surge. And now related to storm surge, the rainfall. Now the rainfall actually with this storm shouldn't be too terrible. I know we had in past storms in past few years, we've had record-breaking flooding out here. This one won't be too bad, all right? You can see coastal regions of Louisiana only maxing out at about 6 to 8 inches. It seems like a lot, but, I mean, usually you only end up with the lower end amount of that. So around 5 to 6 inches is what you can expect. Areas south of Lake Charles, on the southern coastal areas of Louisiana. New Orleans, we're expecting 4 to 6 for you guys. I would expect more, around 4 inches of rain, but there is an isolated spot here shown by the National Hurricane Center of possibly 6 to 8 inches. It's possible, isolated spots of heavier rainfall, but you can see the swath in yellow is mainly just 4 to 6. I think even areas a little bit, we could see some areas getting a little bit even lower than that. All right, but really nothing too bad. Coastal areas of Texas, really about 1 to 2 inches, nothing too crazy, but I would be surprised that we would get, we'll definitely get a lot of street flooding, all right? There's going to be a lot of street flooding. It's just, I'd be surprised if we get, flash flood emergencies or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be like anything like what we saw in South Carolina and North Carolina during Debbie. I think that's not going to be the case for you guys. So the rain shouldn't be too bad for you guys out there in Louisiana. Now, finally, for last part of the update, just want to visit Radar Mega quickly to show you guys how far inland our warnings, our watches, warnings, and advisories go. So you can see as of right now, we do have a tropical storm warning going out for pretty much areas of Port Isabel all the way up to the Laguna Madre. All right, if you're in the yellow shade, that's just for a tiny sliver of southern Texas coastal here. All right, you can see we also do have a tropical storm watch going all the way out to Raymondville. And then it goes a little bit farther north. Now, this just hugs the coastal regions. It doesn't go too far inland. Corpus Christi, the eastern side, or actually the entire city of Corpus Christi, is currently under a tropical storm watch. Barely some of the outer bands could definitely hit you guys. I think that other than that, it's not going to be too bad. You can see that we do have Francine on our radar here with some higher winds coming in at the moment. But I really don't think that we're going to see, crazy conditions out there. I think at best, very low-end tropical storm force winds. But anybody in this pinkish red shade all across the Texas coastline, we are expecting possible tropical storm conditions. All right, League City, Texas City, Galveston, Baytown. All right, you guys, a lot of populated areas are currently under tropical storm watches. Houston, as of right now, not expecting to see any tropical storm watches. Now, if this does shift to the west, once again, you guys could definitely be included in this. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like you guys are going to get any impacts from Francine. You look at now in this blue shade, we have this is storm surge warnings. For this blue shade here, anybody in this blue shade, this is for the entire southern-facing coastline of Louisiana. Pretty much from Grand Isle to Port Arthur. All right, anybody in this blue shade, going pretty far inland towards all the way towards Morgan City, Abbeville. All right, this kind of just shows you how far inland we're expecting the water to potentially get. So it's quite a few miles inland. All right, so we are expecting some pretty dangerous storm surge. But anybody in this blue shade, we're expecting pretty considerable storm surge with that storm surge warning in effect. Now, you have the tropical storm warnings in the yellow shade. All right, this is going pretty far inland up into Louisiana. So if you're in the bright yellow shade, that is the tropical storm warning. All right, you can see Church Point included in that. New Iberia, Martinville, Crowley, Jennings, Lake Charles, Iowa, DeQuincy, Reeves. All right, all of you guys are currently under tropical storm warnings. Now, you have another area here of tropical storm watches. You can see Baton Rouge. You guys are currently in this. Donaldsonville, Convent, New Roads, St. Francisville, Jackson. I believe that's Jackson, Louisiana. That was Jackson, Mississippi. But this does go into Mississippi just a little bit. You got Woodville, Centerville, Liberty, Gloucester, and Crosby. As of right now. I think they may extend this tropical storm warning into Baton Rouge. We'll have to see. I think they might as well just do it. All right, for those outer bands. But as of right now, if you're in the pink shade, that's where we have tropical storm watches. And finally, you do have storm surge watches going all the way out to the far southern coastline of Mississippi. New Orleans right now, you're currently under a tropical storm watch as well. I forgot to mention that. You guys definitely have a chance, but I really doubt that you're going to be under a tropical storm warning. I think it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar chance as Baton Rouge, but a little bit less, I would say. But you guys are also under a storm surge watch, so just be aware of that. All right, so that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. So stay safe out there. All right, if this is the last update I'll be giving, just remember that you gotta, if you're not evacuating, which I don't believe evacuation orders have been given, but if you're not evacuating, you're on the coastal regions, just stay safe. Obviously, you've been through storms like these, so just obviously don't go on the coastal roads, don't drive your car or whatever. So just make sure that you're getting plenty of supplies, that you're prepared for damage, power outages, and stuff like that. So make sure you have batteries ready, charge your the tablets and electronic devices. But I am expecting widespread power outages, but I think that this is just going to be a storm it's a dangerous storm, but I think it's going to be something that we can all get through. So, once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.